we're really into women uplifting other women and women helping other women on this journey. So it's clear she was a big part of that for you.
Oh, I would not have written this book without Rachel. So a colleague introduced us, and I was sharing stories from my experience, roommates, friends in the industry. And as I was sharing, Rachel just started weeping. And there were certain aspects that made me angry.
Yeah.
And I quickly learned from Rachel, I learned to trust her, and that she's a New York Times #1 best-selling author. And she has the ability to weave the stories and build these characters.
We were just talking about therapy, and a writer who said, you know, listen, I don't want to date anyone who doesn't go to therapy. Was this like therapy for you? Because again, these are 4 fictional characters, but clearly for there to be tears while she was writing this, you were unloading and revealing a lot, which included men in the industry. Well before the name Me Too, you were a young woman in this industry that preys upon or can prey upon young women.
Yes, and it was in many ways. I think the most encouraging aspect of this book is that, yes, it's romance, it's a thriller, there's political intrigue. It's also a cautionary tale, and it's about these 4 women, this tribe, and their closeness. You were talking about like the bonds of women, and they survive the jungle, and they make mistakes along the way. There's a lot, and who hasn't? I mean, who of us hasn't? But there's hope. There's a lot of hope, and the message that Rachel and I want to convey to the readers is whatever sector of life and business you're in, whether it's modeling, entertainment, whether you work in agriculture, finance, whatever it is, know your value.
Yeah.
Put boundaries in place to protect yourself, because those values will be challenged.
I was looking at the book. You, at some point, had a conscious decision that modeling wouldn't last forever, so there had to be something else. Was there an epiphany? Was there advice that you received? How did you know?
A lot of failures along the way. The entire time I was working in the modeling industry, I was trying and failing at businesses. But I knew early on that so much of it was dependent upon looks, and it's just the look of the moment, whatever that is. And so I knew I needed to do something that had more security.
I tell people all the time, you're going to always have to pivot in life. At some
Right.
point, the pivot is going to come. Are you ready to pivot?
Yes.
How were you ready to pivot?
Well, I was an aging, pregnant model at my kitchen table, so
That's a heck of a pivot. You're like, that's a dodge. Listen.
yeah, it was.
And so you were pregnant, and the modeling industry, age-wise, you knew was not going to last forever.
It wasn't, and I really wanted to quit it before it quit me.
Yeah.
And I met these wonderful people, John and Marilyn Moretz out of North Carolina. They offered me the opportunity to model a pair of socks. And I thought, you know what, I like them. I like the socks. I don't want to model them, but I'd love to go into business with them.
Oh.
And that's when the deep dive began. Surprise factory inspections. You learn a lot when you show up unexpectedly. My dad worked in labor relations, so how people are treated, that's always been at the forefront. Good people and great product. Some people thought it was stupid to
I was going to say,
start
did you have the naysayers? I mean, because here you are. You could have been modeling the socks, and you said, no, 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 no.
Well, actually, I was offered the chance to model.
Yeah.
But it was a very teeny budget, and they thought maybe they'd just like crop it at the knees and just get my feet.
Oh, no. You're like, it's the whole thing or nothing.
But it was a job when not a lot were coming my way. But I knew it was time to make a change.
See, Warren Buffett, the great businessman, helped also shape your business model with advice. What advice did he give you?
Well, just the wonderful thing about Mr. Buffett is he's so prolific that we can be mentored by him by reading about him. I had the privilege of knowing him through Irv Blumpkin, our first retail partner from the Nebraska Furniture Mart. And something Mr. Buffett said early on, he said, you know, fashion and apparel, it's very cyclical. In home, it's more steady. Very profound, simple, profound, and we entered into the home industry. It was great advice.